First, I'd like to thank the Geological Society for allowing us to be here. It's quite an honor. What I'm going to do is I'm going to first go through just a few opening remarks. First being, what gave rise to us wanting to have this investor night? The simple answer is we wanted to show you all what's under the hood, who we are, what we have, where we've been, where we're going, what makes us up. People ask me often, what makes up your company and its success in what we would all characterize as challenging markets? The answer that comes from me, the first answer that comes out of me is the team. We have one of the best subsurface teams in the world, one of the most intelligent and sophisticated transaction groups in the world. Our team of advisors across the board, our brokers, St. Bride's. I mean, there are just so many to name. Sunrise Capital. They've all been phenomenal and worked hard to contribute towards our success. What we've undertaken is a process of acquisition of multiple projects, which you're going to see us go into, and undertaken a process of de-risking, as Hugo's mentioned. And that might sound a little ambiguous now, but I'll make it come a little bit clearer as we get into this. But the real emphasis of what we are as a company is making an oil and gas discovery, or multiple oil and gas discoveries. We're about producing oil and gas. The message I want to deliver to everyone here tonight is we have no intention on placing equity for a living. We have intention on selling oil and gas for a living. That's what we're about. So I'll run through there are many friendly faces and shareholders for those that don't have the background. I'll run through it real quickly. Basically, our review since our IPO. We've acquired 3 projects, 1 in Belize, 2 in Denmark. We have assembled an inventory of 40 prospects and leads, which I'll go into in greater detail. We've acquired 359 kilometers of 2D seismic, generated 8 CPRs. Those are competent person reports from the help of RPS Energy. We've raised 14.6 million in sterling, about 25 million US on 3 separate equity placings, all in about 419 days. Our plans are to get 4 wells down in Belize by the end of 2013, and hopefully 2 wells down in Denmark. To kind of give you a review, since listing, our share price at the close today is up 108% from listing. Effectively, we listed with 60 million shares on issue. Today, we have about 251 million shares on issue. With our equity placings, it's about 360% dilution on that 14.6 million sterling raised. Our market cap has increased by about 800%, again, on the equity listing and the appreciation of share price. And our liquidity, our average daily volume, has grown by a factor of 600%. From 500,000 shares a day to 3 million. The equity placings were done at intervals of 5p, 60 million shares, 6p, 50 million shares, and 108 million shares at 8p just last February. And that's the result. Looks like a pretty good trend if the markets cooperate. And I bring us back to in very, very challenging times. The shareholder analysis at listing, we had 1 institution in us, a lot of institutions looking at us. We had a retail base of about 75%, and management held just under 15%. And there was a reason for that. Part of it was we wanted to create room for greater liquidity as we move down the road. Today, that's changed. Our institutional base is about 38-39%, retail at about 50%, and management at about 11%, diluted as a function of the equity placings. Our largest shareholders being Axa Framlinton, Fidelity Investments out of Boston, JM Finn, CQS, a number of companies. As I said, we've acquired 3 projects, and it is pretty amazing the rate at which we acquired these projects. These, and I use the expression spring-loaded. We took about a year to go through a pipeline of projects, so as soon as we rang the bell, we were ready to go. 34 days after listing our first project in Belize, 64 days we entered into an LOI for our second project in Denmark, Danica Jetland. I think 128 days in total after listing we completed that. Christmas Eve we signed the letter of intent for Danica Resources, and in April we concluded Danica Resources. Peter will go into those details and the anatomy of the transactions as we proceed. New World Oil and Gas operates all projects we have. In Belize, we have the legal right to earn up to 100% working interest. Today, we're assigned 25% working interest as a function of the work we've completed. Danica Jetland, we have the right to earn into 80% working interest, and we've been assigned 12.5% interest to date. And in Danica Resources, we also have the right to earn into 80% working interest. However, we've not actually begun our physical work program. That seismic operation will begin in August, and we will follow the same sort of multi-phase stair-step approach to earn up to that working interest level. All the farmers, once we achieve our ceiling working interest, will revert to a 5% overriding royalty interest. In Blue Creek, Belize, we've acquired 231 line kilometers of 2D, thanks to our friends at American Seismic, who did a great job. We have today 3 drill-ready prospects with a 1 in 5 probability of success and a total de-risking of about 60% from the time we acquired the project to today. Danica Jetland, we've shot 161 kilometers of 2D seismic and done some AVO modeling and have come up with 2 prospects with a 40% improvement in risk to a 1 in 8. Danica Resources, as I said, we're just starting our work program, but we plan to, in August, go out and shoot 134 kilometers at 2D. Now we have what we characterize as a drill-ready prospect in Danica Resources. I'll go into that in greater detail. But just through the reprocessing of pre-existing data and working together with our competent person over at RPS, we've characterized this as a prospect, and at this point, drill-ready. The CPR results, we have, again, an inventory of 40 prospects and leads. This breaks them down. 4 drillable, 17 prospects, 19 leads. Pretty remarkable for 419 days. We're pretty busy. We have seen RPS book on the CPRs that they've generated, 730 million barrel oil equivalent on the P50 scale. I'm not going to mention the P10; it's way off the chart. And the P90 is not terribly below the mid-range P50. That breaks down to just under 400 million barrel of oil and just over 2 TCF of gas. Now, on a multi-discovery success basis, the indicative values of these combined equal almost 12 billion US dollars. So it's, again, a pretty remarkable result. This is RPS Energy which generates this. This is not us telling them what the answers are. For those of you that know the oil and gas business and have dealt with competent persons before, I can tell you from my experience at UCOAST, we paid them millions and millions of dollars to tell us things we didn't want to know. and I can tell you from over 30 years in the oil business, I've seen that be the case in more than one company. So they're usually very conservative, and if they have a strong opinion, which I'm going to show you some of their differences of opinion with us, and why we think we're right in some of our prospects. But I want to make the point that, although we have a good working relationship with them, we by no means tell them what the answer is. That's not the way it works. It's like a financial consultant or a financial auditor. If any of you ever had a business before and called up a financial auditor and said, okay, here, please audit the books for my partners, And if they come back and they have a problem, they're going to tell you. And they're not only going to tell you, they're going to put it in their report. And not only going to put it in their report, they're going to give you an invoice. And if you don't pay the invoice, you don't get the report. So this is how it works. And the same thing works in the oil and gas business with reserve auditors. And in the case of, in the UK, we call them competent person reports. So that's the year really in review. And what I'm going to roll into are just a few slides. My dear colleague George Stick has come down with laryngitis, something my wife would like me to come down with sometimes. And I've offered to step in, but there he is in the back if you want to hit him with questions later. I'm going to go through a little bit about the area where we work in, just touch on it regionally. This is the Yucatan Peninsula, this is Guatemala, and here's Belize. And the area we operate in here is just right up here in northwest Belize. Blowing up, you will see all the fields in the north and south Petine Basin. Think of a basin like a big serving bowl. In the center of it, where the source rock depositors exist. Some source rocks are self-sourcing. Some have large deposits of organic material which eventually converts itself into hydrocarbon, migrates up sedimentary plains, fracture plains, fault systems until they find a trap and accumulate. Normally you find your accumulations around the rim of a basin. We call that around the basin margin. Okay? And with the North Petine here, notice the fields on the outside. In the South Petine here, the same case. That's the area we're playing. The reason why we chose Belize, for a number of reasons. We had an investment criteria which Peter will go into in greater detail, but we wanted to have 100% control or close to that. We wanted to operate. We wanted to be near world oil price in countries with stable political governments. Our aim is to make a discovery and deliver value, not struggle with host governments or political regimes that are unstable or high transportation costs, or in markets where governments call a percentage of your production and you're left with what they decide you can have. So Belize fit the ticket really well. It's a wonderful country, wonderful people, 245,000 people, English speaking, the former British Honduras. I can't say enough good about it. I often tease my colleagues, well, at least it's not Siberia. So it's just a great place. The other area which we operate is Denmark. This is a petroleum license map of Denmark, and I'm going to kind of pick it out for you here. This is the Danish peninsula right here. This is Jutland right here. This is Germany down here. And this is the offshore region controlled by Denmark. This blue area is our Danica Jutland license, and this powder blue area is our Danica Resources license. About 2.7 million acres we control out there. We are by far the largest onshore license holder in all of Denmark. The Danish have a beautiful country. For those that have been there, you know it. It's for those of you that haven't, it's a wonderful place. They're well organized. They're very thorough. The Danish Energy Authority is very, very serious about who they allow in there, which is what we prefer. They checked us out, named us as operator. There's a built-in 20% paying partner with no royalty structure in Denmark, and that 20% partner is the Danish North Sea Fund. And so whatever projects we do in Denmark, we propose to them, they agree, we join the fund.